פרס למנצחים בעונה 4, חוויית נסיעה מטורפת ברכב מרוץ פרוטוטייפ במסלול ערד.
Welcome everyone to Israel Racing League, a bi-weekly battle over the course of 6 months to determine who is the best sim racer in Israel. I am your host, Jim Hodson. Joining me on commentary this week, my good friend Dane Baird back in the booth, and in the production booth, of course, the eminently capable Mr. Mark Tranter. Thank you so much, sir. Now, this week, we are at my home track, Road Atlanta. I absolutely love this track. I've lapped it in sim, in real life, on a bike, on foot, many times in my dreams as well. So this is going to be extra special for me, and I already love this series. Dane, what can we expect to see today on track?
I would probably say crashes. We've had a few crashes throughout the season, and Road Atlanta is pretty infamous for them on the sim. Turn 1 especially. You can often find yourself 3 wide. The track narrows up on the exit of turn 1 and in towards 2 and 3. It's really easy to get a lot of cars involved in a big pileup. Hopefully we don't see that, but I have a sneaky suspicion that we might. But other than that, drafting down the back straight, which we're on now with Animeshlan, that's going to be crucial in the race, not only for track position, but also just keeping out of the way of the drivers behind you, building up gaps, working together with the drivers around you to get those gaps up using the drafting.
Yes, absolutely. As you mentioned, turn 1 does invite more speed perhaps than you are ready for. Another trouble spot, of course, turn 3 at the top of the hill. The question is always, how much curb do you take? Conservative drivers will take 0, and less conservative drivers will take more than that, and we'll see how the cars handle it. Then the S's, turn 5, a great place to have a crash, I can tell you from personal experience. You can use the tabletop at the out of turn 5, but as for whether it will unsettle your car or not, that remains to be seen. And of course, turn 7, Hazel Harrell Memorial Corner, there is the most critical turn on the track, greater than 90 degrees, and sets you up for that long drag all the way down to this point in the track, the turn 10AB complex. As Kaner here is navigating turn 11, and finally the last turn 12, and onto the start-finish straight. So let's look at some championship standings to get an idea of how we are shaping up. Of course, this is a bi-weekly series, as I mentioned, so we're only halfway through the series, even if everybody else everybody else is just finishing up the series. So you can see Alan Day here at the top of these standings. He's got quite a lead over Ruben Chechishvili at 246 and 186 respectively, and of course Dorian Tabachnik in 3rd place. I have not looked yet to see if Tabachnik is joining us today, but I certainly hope he will. Yes, indeed, he is. We missed him last time. Michael Sherling in P4, followed by Oren Sadeh, John Chico in P6, and Amir Meshlam in P7. Meshlam really giving it everything he had during the practice session. We saw him off track a time or 2. And then in P8, it's Alan Zeltzer, followed by Nir Mizrahi, Peter Green, Matty Bakar in P11, Dekelnar in 12th, Yossi Gabai in 13th, and then Ariel DeBush, Devora, Zioni, Heskia, and Cher on down to P18. Now, I would love to get through the entire list of standings. However, I've got some more information to share with you about today's race, and it looks like qualifying will be over just shortly, so let me get to this quickly. We will be racing 25 laps today, Dane, instead of the usual 20 that we would do in a normal race. And we'll have a little bit more fuel. So I would expect to see slightly slower lap times, but a little bit more racing than we normally get. And we have 2 fast repairs, which we, as you alluded, may very well need. And it looks like Dedi Diag, Yossi Gabai, and Sar Dekel will start from the pits. Here is Chico in turn 1. You can just see he took a...
starting from the pits due to penalties, but mostly everyone out on track, or not out on track, they've all finished their 2 allocated laps. There's John Chico running very wide there, taking all of the curb on the exit and some, dipping a wheel into the gravel on the outside as well, using all the track available to him. And now through turn 7, now towards turns 8 and 9, which aren't really corners, it's just a bendy straight. And then into turns 10A and 10B. down at the end of this straight. Downhill braking zone means you've got to brake a little bit earlier than you would normally for a corner, but still pretty late on the brakes through the left and the right, and then underneath the Suzuki bridge. Now through the final corner, this will be easily flat out for these Dallara F3 cars. And the qualifying session expires just before he's able to finish the lap.
Wow, that's unfortunate. Well, here are your results and thus your grid. Ruben Cecishvili in P1, followed by Alan Day. Cecishvili's got to be feeling pretty good about that, to be above Day in the start there, followed by in P3, Rancioni. That's a great qualifier for Sione there. In P4, we have Michael Scherling, followed by Dorian Tabachnik. Great to see you back, Tabachnik. Amir Meshlam in P6. Tomer Devra in P7, Ariel DeBush in P8, followed by Malkov and Kaner in 9 and 10, and of course Dekelnar and John Chico 11th and 12th. They are followed by Wasserman, Green, Bakar, Kopp, Zeltzer, Gross, Ben Yosef, Sadeh, and Kizelstein in 21st place, who's joined by Moshe Pinchevsky in 22nd, and they are followed, of course, by Eric Alster and Really Tsur in 23rd and 24th. In 25th, we have David Diag, who has Ori Lahav for company, and then Eden Scher in 27th, who's got Elad Weintraub next to him. Followed, of course, by Yossi Gabai and Sar Deckel and Gil Epstein in 31st position. Now, again, let's see, our penalties are Diag, Gabai, and Deckel, who will start from the pits. But we should shortly be away, and I did see Dane Cecishvili in the Formula 3 race a couple of days ago, so he's got some race miles under his belt at this track in this car, so I would expect a good performance for him today, and he's got to be pleased to be ahead of Day on the timing tower.
Absolutely. It's always a good start to be ahead of your rivals in qualifying. But the outside line into turn 1, if Alon Day can get a good start, it actually is the preferred line because you can carry much more speed when you're side by side there. So it could be interesting for him in his number 42 machine with his opposite number, the 24 of Alon Day, just behind him and a bit to the left.
Well, here come the lights. We'll be underway shortly. Let's see what kind of start we get. Ooh, that might have been a slight jump start. It looked like back air in the back, but John Chico is going to capitalize as your leaders get away well. Day behind Cecishvili's car, and that looks like Scherling running in P3 as we navigate turn 1 the first time. Interesting to me, Day, that he did not go through turn 1 side by side. I think Day made the choice to just hang out there. Oh no! A car all the way across the track hits Scherling. Was that Sione or Bakar? I can't quite tell, but we head through the S's for the first time. Your leaders with a pretty big gap as they head through turn 5. Cecishvili and Day nearly 2 seconds ahead of Meshlam. Does Meshlam have damage? I hope not. Here we go through turn 6, the first time too wide with your leaders. They will now go through turn 7.
Meshlam's off.
Oh no.
And Dave takes the lead, but you'll have Cecishvili just behind him. I think that was Michael Scherling who got wiped out in turn 2, actually going through turn 3. But let's see. Oh, defensive, very late defensive block by Alon Day. Cecishvili is going to take the inside with the outside line towards turns 10A and B. Alon Day holding the inside there, and he makes that stick. So he's fully up into the lead now, side by side further back as well. But I'd love to go back and have a look at what happened at the start there. Chico into the pits.
Okay, here we are at turn 3. Let's see what happens. Oh, is that Sione off the track? He just couldn't bring it back and try. I don't know what he could do there, Dane, other than it seemed like he got a little hit check at the top of the hill going through 2 there. I'm not sure what else he could have done. It's unfortunate that I mean, there's nowhere to go. The track turns back on itself.
Yeah, very unfortunate for him. The grass is super slippery, on especially on cold tires. So yeah, he really had nowhere he could have gone. Trying to steer away from the cars in front of him and just couldn't. The tires had no grip at all, and really a passenger in that car. And very unfortunate for Michael Scherling, who's dropped down to 26 now. He started 4th on the grid, but yeah, he's right at the bottom. He's going to have to make his way back up. Everyone's going to score points here today, though. because the top 34 drivers get points, and there are only 31, so everybody will be getting points, I believe, if they are going to finish the race. We've got some bit of action here down the back straight, big block there. And I believe this is Meshlam trying to make his way back through. Yes, it is. Up in the 14th, Meshlam goes. Tabashnik with the fastest lap of the race, and the incident with, I believe that was Rancioni and Michael Sherling, has been deemed a racing incident. No penalty for anyone involved in that.
Well, thank you to the stewards for keeping an eye on that and delivering their judicious choice. Well, I wished that he would be here, and indeed he is. We missed him last time. Dorian Tabachnik not only on the grid, but storming along up into P3 and giving Chachishvili a little bit of a run for his money. Alan Day's got a little bit of a gap now on Chachishvili as we settle down into lap 3. And it looks like the battle might be between these 3 cars. You wonder, don't you, Dane, if Tabachnik will be able to get around Chachishvili and go chasing after Alan Day.
He'll definitely be able to get around due to the massive overtaking opportunity into turn 10. He'll definitely be able to get a move done with the draft. Is he going to try and make it now? He is down the inside, but I don't think he'll be able to make that stick because Chachishvili was just too late on the brakes for him, although he's held it side by side. As we head down through the final corner, just about side by side, but Chachishvili still ahead. I think Tabashnik might be able to take him around the outside of turn 1. No, he doesn't. He sticks it back behind.
Tabachnik really flirting with disaster there and was setting up for turn 12 as he came down the hill. He had half a tire, the outside tire, in the grass. Well, there's no passing opportunity in the S's, I can tell you that much. But I just thought that was going to be disaster for him. He actually came up, of course.
They're just unfortunate because their battling has not only allowed the Bush to sort of catch up a little bit and get back into the drafting range, it's allowed Alan Day to escape a bit. So Tabashnik, really, he needs to be getting past Chachishvili as soon as possible, not try and hold each other up as much as they just have, and try and catch the leader.
Well, there is Deckel. Looks like he's battling with Diag. And Chico just behind. Now, Chico seemed to have a pretty good start, if I recall correctly. I think one of the cars ahead of him was a little bit slow to get away. And Chico looked like he was kind of moving up to the pack there in the rear. But I guess he must have gotten caught up in the melee to come at the top of the hill, and that has sent him down the timing tower a little bit, as we see Chico making a move on Deckel here. Although Deckel will have track position in the braking zone into 10A. We wonder what will take place here. Yep. Oh, no! Little touch, Deckel off. Yeah, tough place to be too wide there. And there's a car spun around at the entrance to the S's.
Might have been Markov. It was Markov. What's happened to Markov? Has he touched the grass on the way in? Oh, up on the curb, and that's just sent him around onto the grass. Oh, he's bottomed it out on the curb, and just, oh no, he didn't avoid him. Bit of contact there as well.
That was like a skateboard move from Malkoff. He kind of did like a rail grind on the curbs there.
Oh, Rancioni making his way back up through the field ahead of Alster now, with Oren Sade just ahead. That he will most likely be making quick work of there, and you can see straight past using the draft. As Chachishvili just set the new fastest lap of the race, a 1:14.4.
Yeah, storming along, doing everything he can to stay ahead of Tabachnik.
Oh, Devora off the circuit, as is Dekal Nah. Oh dear.
Oh,
something's happened in the S's. That is, oh, that's not a good place to go off the circuit.
Happened.
Oh dear.
Oh, that was a big wall hit. Oh no. And a sort of a tack on So Deborah got off track, got into the wall. Unfortunate. Well, lucky these drivers do get 2 fast repairs, so they'll at least be able to get back on track and continue racing. There's Wasserman here at the end of this train following Goodbye, and that must be Epstein in the 43 machine. It looks to me like Goodbye will be close enough to make an attempt, and indeed he does. Wasserman as well might try some sort of a dive bombing move into 10A. Well, he's alongside anyway. Let's see how the AV complex shakes out. This is, of course, one of the most popular places to watch racing here at Road Atlanta because there's a lot of action there at the 10AV complex. Even though when the track was built, that chicane was not included. It was pretty much straight through there, known as Gravity Cavity, and it was a terrifying prospect.
You can imagine, cars must have been going pretty quickly through there.
Yeah,
Ooh,
now
on the grass.
something I've noticed about these Formula drivers is they don't mind sticking a tire off of, oh dear. Sione's going to have another incident in turn 3. They don't mind sticking tires into the grass around here. And, well, I can tell you that I would not try that. I'm not sure I would drive it. I would drive it in the sim.
The added downforce from the wings helps them out there a little bit. Alonde with the personal best on that last lap. Sebastian has got past Chashashvili, and neither of them setting times too quick. But you can see as the fuel gets burned out by these drivers, the time starting to come down.
Green here under pressure, oh dear, from Kopp as Mechlin had a little bit of an incident there. Just unsettled the car a little bit and cost him a little bit of time. We'll be glad to know that he's got a little bit of Kopp. But Kopp may certainly be able to close that back up. Through turn 6, nice on-camber turn there is turn 6, but turn 7 not so much. And 7, as we're going through now, is at greater than 90 degrees, so you do have to get pretty slow. And it's so important to get a good run out of there. It has effects all the way down this straight as we see Mechlin have a look here at the outside of Kopp. We'll see how we get through A and B. Kopp just slots in behind. It's probably a wise move. No need to take a fast repair that you don't absolutely have to take. You can avoid an incident.
Oh dear.
Who's off the circuit there? Is that Deckel? Diag?
It does seem to be Diag. Out of turn 7, probably he's got up on the curb on the left-hand side. Oh no. Just lost it on the throttle. Keeps out of the water and will get back going.
A physician friend of mine totaled his Z4 in that very same place, in that very same way. But he had track insurance, so it ends with a happy story. Here we go through turn 7 one more time. This is Green following Kopp. I believe, no, that's Mechlin in front. Green is the meat in that sandwich. And Kopp behind. Kopp might have a little look at Green here. So we head down into 10A. He looks at the inside, but isn't quite close enough to attempt anything. I think that was a wise move on his part, especially since they're running pretty well. These guys are battling for 6th place. That is where Mechlin is in 6th. Mechlin now getting away a little bit. Oh dear. Trying to pass into turn 1 can be a little bit scary. Certainly scared me anyway. The car is loaded up. And it is very easy to have an incident on the outside of turn 1. Many people have done so. There's Sherling on the car into 10A. He gets it done. Nice work, Sherling. He's got to be annoyed, Dane. I mean, he was really just getting everything he possibly could out of the car in practice, and he qualified well, and then just racing incident just got smacked into there.
Yeah, innocent bystander in that incident, just coming through here, and then bang! All of a sudden, car comes across and wipes him out. Very unfortunate for him, as we are round about 40% into the race. Loose was shelling as he came up through the S's, but Tabashnik is slowly closing the gap to Alon Day. Kashishvili with the new fastest lap of the race on that lap. He's brought down the gap between himself and Tabashnik by 2/10 on that lap. But those two slowly catching Alon Day every lap, it seems.
Yeah, 1:14.1, that is prodigious. Great lap.
Almost stepping into the 1:13s. Haven't seen anyone do that yet.
Yeah, I think it is possible. It's certainly possible in this car at this track. What has happened? Oh, that was just a back marker letting the leader by. 1:13 certainly possible in this car at this track, but perhaps not with the fuel load and tire configuration we will see today. Would not surprise me at all to see somebody get a 1:13 over the course of this race. We're riding on board with Gross, looking at the rear of Kopp's car through turn 7. Nicely handled by both of these drivers. And it looks like Green has made a little bit of track on Kopp. You can see his white car in the distance there, as Gross will potentially make a move here into 10A. Let's see what happens between these two cars. Kopp just slots in behind. I'm having trouble pronouncing the word slot after Kopp's name. I apologize. Here we go through turn 12.
Alon Day was just off track for a while. The gap between himself and Tabashnik has come down a bit. Tabashnik just set a 1:14.08 on the last lap and gained 1.5 seconds on Chachishvili. What happened to Alon Day? Where has he gone off? There he's gone off. Ooh, that's dangerous.
Wow. I have never seen someone do that and not put their car in the wall.
But that's put Dorian right on the rear of him. 0.2 of a second is the gap. That's more than enough to make a move.
Yep, Tabachnik will move to the outside. Day doing everything he can to defend by taking that inside position. Tabachnik. Oh, come on, guys. No.
Oh,
no.
as well.
No.
Bush is going to inherit the race lead.
The entire, there are 3 leaders, there's nothing they could do. There's nothing that Chachishvili could do. I'm sure he stood on the brakes, did Chachishvili, but he could not avoid Tabachnik's car. Here are Tabachnik and Day. Tabachnik gets the pass done before 10A even starts, turns in, plenty of room
got a
for
bit
Day.
loose on the curb. Alon just got a bit loose on the curb and had nowhere to go, just slid out into Dorian there.
Well, here is your leader, De Bush, leading the race. And it looks like a significant part of the field has gotten a pit stop in, whether that was due to damage or due to the pit stop window opening, is perhaps up for debate. There is Meshlo now running in P3, followed by Chachishvili. Chachishvili, of course, does not have his front wing, and that might influence his pit stop strategy here shortly. We may see him come down. This time around, it wouldn't surprise me a bit. That car is going to be very hard to drive without his front wing. There is Weintraub and Wasserman. Weintraub battling with Epstein here. Epstein lucky to keep his car out of the wall at the outside of turn 5. But let's see. Nobody. Well, there's Chachishvili. Indeed, he goes into the pits. Not surprising. One of the few times, Dane, I've predicted the future, and it's happened as I said it would. Oh, dear. Getting a little bit wide there, does the number 99 machine.
Alon Day is 1.5 seconds behind the Bush. There's still 11 or so laps left in the race. You might still be able to get back into the lead. He hasn't got too much damage.
Yeah, all he did was spin out, did he? Well, he did touch wheels, I believe, but it doesn't look like he's got any suspension damage. If we could ride on board with him, maybe we could see if his wheel is turned, but he doesn't appear to be having any problem keeping up with the bush.
Oh dear, something's happened to Michael Sherling, dropping down the timing tower. What's happened to him?
He's had a couple of off tracks. Something's happened to him for sure.
Yeah, he's dropping off the circuit.
So Day must not have any damage at all if he didn't stop in to the pits there. So turn 3.
Oh.
He got in the rear of the car ahead.
And then the train of cars passed and he couldn't really get back onto the circuit. He's really not had the best race, has he?
No, he hasn't. And it's not, well, I think in that case you could probably say it was his fault, but through no fault of his own a little bit earlier. Here we're riding on board with Day, looking at the rear of the Bush's car. And if Day gets a good run through 7 here, we can see him challenging the Bush for the lead of the race here shortly. It looks like he is catching the Bush. Well, Day ran a slower lap last time around than did the Bush, so the Bush with a chance here. Listen to that car banging around. That doesn't sound good.
Taking a lot of curb in the chicane there at turn 10, but he's right on the back of the Bush now as we complete lap 16, or complete lap 15 and head on to lap 16. A 1:14.2 for Alan Day there. Really, really quick lap time. But now the difficult part might be getting past the Bush.
Yes,
You see very
indeed. You could
different line.
Yeah, Day taking a much shallower line through the S's there. Oh, now he's all over the rear of the Bush car and just hurtling over the tabletop. That big sort of island of concrete at the turn out, at the out of the track out of turn 5 is known as the tabletop. And in some cars, you do want to drive all over it, particularly cars that have a lot of suspension travel, the MX-5s, of course. F3s I wouldn't have thought would want to be out there, but Day certainly a much faster driver in the F3 than I am. And here we go down into 10A. Day will make an attempt on DeBush, and he will get ahead. DeBush's line will be slightly compromised, and Day will once again take over the lead of the race. Is something happening with Epstein back there? Looks like Sherling's off track again.
Oh,
Maybe off track.
Oh, same exact thing that we saw earlier. The 12 car just about avoids it. Oh, it's not a good rejoin. No. Oh, and it's caused carnage. Sherling again.
Oh, man. Oh. You know, this is making me want to just... I want to pick up like a greeting card or something for Sherling and just send it to him and say, you know, chin up, pal. I mean, racing can be that way sometimes. I'm sorry you're having such a day. And Chachishvili down into the 113s. Again, one of my predictions comes true, Dan. I'm so pleased. Fastest lap of the race so far, Ruben Chachishvili at 1:13.99. Currently running in P10. Just some horrible luck on Sherling's part.
Oh,
There's Sherling off at 10A. It looks like he's going to try to make a shortcut to the pits through the beach. I've never seen a driver do that before. And it would not work in real life. It would be probably uninvited from any future events at Road. This is Green and Gross. Heading through turn 1. There's the Bush. Excuse me, that's Goodbye. I apologize. Looking at the rear of Chachishvili's car. Chachishvili now running in P9, so he's just gotten by Goodbye a moment ago, which you wouldn't be surprised to learn. Chachishvili, of course, has the fastest lap of the race so far today. The only driver to dip into the 113s, I believe, so far. I wonder if Chachishvili, since he was sort of forced to go to the pits, I wonder if Chachishvili's now good to the end. We were on lap 18 of 25. He may very well be, Dane. And Gross gets ahead of Green.
I'm not sure. I don't think the drivers have to take a pit stop in the race. They should have fuel to the end. But Chachishvili, yeah, really unfortunate for him. He got caught up in Dejan Tabashnik's incident up in front of him. Couldn't really go anywhere. And that incident involving the drivers at turn 3 where we just saw Sherling being wiped out. That has been ruled as a racing incident, but will be looked into further after the race. As Chachishvili sets a 1:13.8, the new fastest lap of the race.
Wow. Takes nearly a tenth out of himself. Storming along Chachishvili. There is Goodbye, who's probably not able to see Chachishvili's car anymore. He can only just see it entering turn 5 now. It's Goodbye on his green livery, navigating turn 5 himself. And Chachishvili is already ready to take on his next car, that being the John Chico running in P8. Chico in the number 3 machine. There is Chico, with Chachishvili just behind. Cher running ahead of Chico. Chachishvili too far back to try to make anything happen on this lap, but it wouldn't surprise me if he caught up enough to do it the next time around, since he is lapping like an absolute monster out there. Let's see if he's able to improve on his lap time here as he crosses the start-finish line. A 1:13.9, which would previously have been the fastest lap in the race, but now is nothing compared to the 1:13.8 he did a lap ago. Here's a knot of cars led by Wasserman, and that looks like Malkoff making an attempt on the inside. I believe Malkoff, they just managed to keep it clean there. Deckel did a great job on the brakes to stay off Malkoff's car. I think that was maybe a slightly cheeky move on Malkoff's part. And I think that was, respectful driving on Deckel's part. He would only have lost his front wing had he gotten into the rear of Malkoff's car there, I'm sure. So wise to get on the brakes there. And Chachishvili's just gotten by John Chico. Chachishvili now up into 8th place. And we've got about 5 laps to go here. Oh no, Malkoff around at turn 5 into the wall. Wow, turn 5 can really be that way, Dane. You got to be very careful heading up the hill. You want to really throw the car in as hard as you can to try to maintain your momentum, but sometimes you throw it in too hard, and this is what happens. It throws you back a little bit. Here we are in turn 5. He gets onto that tabletop, gets a little bit crossed up and into the wall between turns 5 and 6.
Yeah, that's a tricky one because because of that curb. The fastest line is obviously to send it as hard as possible, but you have to fully send it over the curb and get to the other side where there's some tarmac for the alternate layout. If you don't, then you want to stay off the curb at all costs. There's not really a line in between them, and that's the line that he's just taken, and it's just completely unsettled the car. And yeah, throwing him around. But yeah, if you want to get up on the curb, you've got to get up and over it, and yeah, that's not what he did.
Well, Chachishvili all over the rear of Cher's car here. I would not doubt that Chachishvili will make an attempt here. It'll be up to Cher where Chachishvili has his look. Cher decides on the outside. Chachishvili will try to get him on the brakes into 10A. And Chachishvili, it looks to me like, gives him plenty of room. Of course, Chachishvili's had his heart broken in that turn complex before, but will move himself up into P7. It looks like Chico might attempt to better his place as well on Cher, and indeed does. Cher, it looked to me like just let it breathe there a little bit and just let Chico on by. So down into the S's we go once more. Chachishvili now scampering away. One wonders if he'll be able to catch up to serve, which it wouldn't surprise me at all. There is Wasserman. And Deckel's gotten by Wasserman there just before turn 10A. Wasserman is going to fight back down into turn 12. And will get back in front. You don't want to have any kind of issue down here on the start-finish straight at Road Atlanta because of the walls may not look too close, but they certainly are. Deckel might try something into turn 3. Extremely ill-advised. Wasserman takes a lot of curb at 3 and goes bouncing down into the S's. Here we go through turn 5 once more. Let's see if Wasserman is able to manage a full send. He does indeed. And will now have the on-camber turn of 6 into the very tricky turn 7 and back onto the straight. I think Deckel might be close enough here, Dane, to make another attempt on Wasserman down into 10A and B. We will see.
Well, if he wants to get past, he's got only a couple more attempts to do so. Only 2 more laps for these guys once they cross the line. Actually, 3 more laps once they cross the line. So let's see. He moves to the inside. Is he going to be late enough on the brakes? Yes, he is. Is he going too deep? I don't think so. Eric Alster now having a look down the inside of Orange. Sade just about leaves enough room. And he moves himself up into 15th.
Well, a couple of solid passes into 10A this time around. And it looks like Churchfield and Sir. Churchfield will take the inside once more. Sir's going to fight him for it. We break into 10A. Everybody through comfortably and safely. And away, Churchfield goes now up into P6. So, Will Chachishvili, oof, a big gap up to green.
Yeah, very big gap. Yeah, just about 12 seconds between those two. De Bush just staying around about 1.5 seconds behind Alon Day. Michelin closed the gap by about a second since Alon Day retook the lead. But I don't think he'll be close enough to make a move by the end. Gross is another 5 seconds back from that. Is that Alon Day dealing with lap traffic, or is that lap traffic dealing with Alon Day? Because I know his lap times haven't been the fastest over the last few laps.
Oh,
but
boy.
I think it was him dealing with traffic there. 1:14.9 for him on that lap. But he takes the white flag. He's got a 2-second gap to De Bush behind. It looks like Alon Day might take yet another win this season.
Yep, wouldn't surprise me. Just looking at the way things are at the moment, that is the Bush just behind. Wow. It's amazing to me to see these cars just banging over the tabletop like this. Here we go through turn 7, Hazel Harrell Memorial Corner for the final time. Alon Day shouldn't have too many more impediments to his coming win. Doesn't look like he's got anybody too close in front, so as long as there's not a giant altercation in the 10AB complex. I was going to use another word, Dane, but it's not suitable for broadcast. Here he goes through AB. He does indeed keep it on the up and up. We'll come down the hill for the final time, and around turn 12, very safe wide line for Day, and across the start-finish line, and he will take the win. De Bush, Mechlin, across the finish line as well as Gross. And Green and Chachishvili will come across just shortly. There they go. Chachishvili. Well, we should have some very interesting interviews today, Dane. If anybody chooses to stop by and have a chat with us, which I hope they will. Chico apparently very pleased with his results in P8.
Yeah, from what he tells me whenever he ends up in the interview booth with me, is he enters every race hoping to finish, and if he finishes, he's very happy. So I think that's why he's very pleased with his eighth place there.
Yeah, that a great attitude to have. There's a Wasserman and Weintraub battling it out. I think Wasserman is probably going to stay ahead here. No place for Weintraub to catch up. Last couple of cars on track here. Deckel should be crossing the finish line. He does indeed. And then Wasserman and Weintraub. And there we go. We do have a couple of the cars running out there. Looks like possibly Zeltser and Pinchevsky. Well, what a battle. I do love Road Atlanta. A great view here. This looks like it's from a helicopter hovering over what is known as Spectator Hill. There are your results. Alan Day, your winner today, followed by Ariel DeBush in P2. Great result for DeBush. And Amir Meshlam in P3. That is your podium. And they are followed by Reem Gross. I hope he is healed up. He certainly seems to have. I believe he was injured last time we got together and got a pretty good result anyway. But in P4 today is Gross. Well done. Followed by Peter Green in P5. Chachashvili in 6. A little bit of mischief is befallen Chachashvili. He's followed by Relate Sir in 7th. John Chico in 8th. And Edan Sher in 9th. Who was followed, of course, by Yossi Gabai. A pretty good finish for Gabai, starting from the pits. And Rancioni, reasonably good finish for him in 11th, especially considering he got rocketed across the course into other cars. Followed by Sardeckel in P12 and Michael Wasserman in P13. They are followed, of course, by Weintraub, Sade, Ulster, and Diag in 17th. He also started for the pits, if I'm not mistaken. So good result there to end up in 17th. Mighty Bakar in P18th. Sherling. Gosh, I just want to reach out. If I knew that he was a neighbor, I would just go over to his house and maybe take him a cake or something. And let him know that I want to see him on the on the grid again, and not to take it too hard. Near Cop in P20, followed by Alan Zeltser and Moshe Pinchevsky in 22nd, who's followed by Gil Epstein, Rand Kizzelstein, Shirin Kainer, Yaroslav Malkov, who must have quit after that incident. I'm sure he did. Dorian Tabachnik in 27th. Unfortunate finish for Tabachnik. And he's followed by Yuda Ben Yosef. So I don't see anybody stopping by to have a chat with us yet, but I certainly hope they will. Well, Dane, I wanted Tabachnik back, but not quite like this.
Yeah, unfortunate for him. He just got involved in an incident with Alan Day. He was looking pretty fast up there. Potentially could be battling for the lead. I don't think he would have pulled away from Alan, but definitely would have had a good battle. It would have been great to see. Unfortunately, they only lasted one corner battling. He just got loose on the curb and drifted out into him and took out all three of the top three.
Yeah, those things do happen. I gotta say, I feel probably the worst for Chachashvili, even though he was able to continue. Let's see. Even though he was able to continue. Do we have drivers? No, we do. Sorry, I was looking in the wrong spot. Yeah, we've got some drivers that are ready to interview. Well, Dane, I wished for it, and here they are. So quickly, let's speak to our winner. Here he is joining us, Alan Day. Congratulations on your win today. What are your thoughts?
Could have been a better race, that's for sure. Yeah, I feel sorry for Dorian and Ruven that they were involved in the situation that happened there. I'm pretty sure that we had the opportunity to have such a good battle, probably until the end of the race. But yeah, unfortunately, it ended sooner than I thought. But yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, that's it. Those are my thoughts.
Well,
it's pretty annoying. I have to say, it's a bummer. Like those were my only two, I guess, competitors that can really fight. We can really have a good fight, and we were all out in one corner, so it was pretty annoying.
Yeah. I'm really glad to see Dorian back on the grid. sorry to see him not finish the race, but hopeful that we'll get many more battles out of the three of you guys, not to mention the rest of the field over the the course of the season. We've seen some great racing out of all of you guys. So great to have him back. As you say, unfortunate to see it end the way it did, but plenty more racing to come, no?
Yeah, and I think I think the thing about Road Atlanta, for example, is that the straight lines are so long and the track is so quick that you cannot even open a gap, because as soon as someone get into your slipstream, you're done. So I knew that although Ruven probably was the quickest driver, especially during qualifying and during the whole week that we practiced, we all knew that Ruven is the man to follow. Even with that, I knew that there is the possibility to win the race with the slipstream and everything, and I'm happy with that. I was able to grab the lead, but this is not the way I want. Again, this is not the way I want to win. I'm pretty sure that we will have many more fights in the future, but I look at the present, and right now it's quite annoying. But I'm happy with the win, but we will see. We will see. And I don't even know what is the next track. I don't think anyone knows. But
I think it's to be determined. So we'll all find out together. But I have no doubt that we'll continue to have thrilling battles with all of you guys on track. Well, as you say, perhaps not the way you'd like it, but congratulations on the win nonetheless. And thanks for all the work that you put into the series. We do get quite a show out of it.
Yeah, and thank you very much, you guys. And also, I want to say congratulations to Ariel Dabush that finished second, and Amir. I think well deserved. The guy is putting a lot of effort in practice and donate a lot of his time to this championship, so it definitely deserves that, and it's good to see him in P2. And thank you guys again, as always.
You bet. Well, that was Alan Day, your race winner and your championship leader. Thank you so much to him for joining us. Dane, do we want to grab anybody else? We got a couple of drivers ready to have a chat with us.
Well, I think Alan just provided the perfect entry for Ariel Dabush. We saw him have a fairly quiet race for the most part, as he joins us now. He had a fairly quiet race, Ariel, but near the end, or in the middle of the race, the three leaders all getting involved in an incident together, and it gave you the lead of the race. So, how did you find that race today?
I think I was keep to be steady, not doing some big mistakes. I try to be how much positive I can to the race. I was so much excitement to take the lead, but Alon was too much fast to me, so I need to give him pass away.
Absolutely. Well, you held him up for a little bit of time. You didn't let him pass straight away. You kept him behind you for a bit, but eventually he did end up getting past you. But second place, still a very good finish for yourself. What were you thinking heading into the race?
I don't know. I don't think so much. I never reached to the second place, so it's I don't know what to say.
Well, starting 8th on the grid and gaining 6 positions to end up in second where you finished, you must be pretty happy with the first half of the season. Looking forward to the final 6 rounds.
Yes, I hopefully the next half season will be like this. In the last race, I try to be how much faster I can, but this race, I understand that I need to be, how to say that? I'm sorry, I'm so excited. How much to be? I don't know how to say that. Sorry.
Oh, no problem at all, Ariel. But second place, great result for yourself. Hopefully, we can see you soon for the second half of the season. But before we let you go, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, thank you to Amir to organize this league. Thank you to Dorian. Thank you to Dorian to help me to be how much consistent that I am. Thanks you guys for what you're doing. It's a pleasure every time to race under your titles.
Well, thanks for yourself for putting on a good show, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Well, that was our second place driver of the gym, Ariel, and he seemed pretty happy with that result.
He did, but I feel he's being a little bit modest there. I mean, he drove a great race today. Of course, modesty is polite, and I'm sure he's just a polite kind of guy. But I think his results speak for themselves, and I would expect to see a lot more from him in the coming rounds as well. As you sort of set him up to to say that, but he's just a polite guy maybe. All right, well, I think we have time for another interview, unless I'm very much mistaken. Let's see whom we have to choose from here. Let's take the man himself. Here he is. Amir Meshlam, congratulations on your P3 finish today. How are you feeling?
Hey guys, feeling great. How are you?
Great. So, quite a show on track. What was going through your mind as everything unfolded?
Well, actually, Atlanta is one of my favorite tracks here on iRacing. Last season, I took your pole position. So I expected it to be a good race, but I have rough week all week with the official series. So I didn't know how it's going to go. And I started well, I think sixth position on the grid. But then on the third or fourth turn, I lost it and spinned. So I went down to 17, I think. But this is very rough track. So there were a lot of incidents. So I was able somehow to get more and more progress. I just wish there were a few more laps, and maybe I could have even finished second, because I had the pace. I was faster than Ariel on second, but the race ended. So third position. I mean, I'm happy with it, surely.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think you should be. So when you say it's a rough track, do you mean what is it about it? If you could change something about it, I ask because this is my favorite track. I love it deeply. But if you were given control of Road Atlanta, what would you change, do you think?
Well, I don't think I want to change anything, because I said this is also my favorite track. I rested so much on Skip Barber
Sure.
for several years when we're doing this series. But it's a hard track because there is the S section that is very hard. There is a lot of very hard corners. On the other end, there are several corners that you can easily go 2 wide, even 3 wide. So it makes the racing much harder. There is a lot of passing opportunity, which other tracks normally don't have. So I think it's very diverse. Like on some parts, it's very hard and narrow and a lot of very fast, short turns. But on the other end, there are sections that are wide and easy to pass, which makes it a lot of close racing. Which, of course, if you're not experienced as Alon or Dorian or Shalva or the rest, it's really hard.
Well, you made it look easy out there, as you say, starting in P6, which is an achievement on its own, and then climbing 3 places to the podium. I'm impressed. So, congratulations on a great race.
Thank you very much, and hope to see you all on the second half of the season.
You know it. We're looking forward to it. Thank you so much. That's your P3 finisher, Amir Meshlam. All right, Dane, I think we might have time for another interview or two, unless I'm mistaken.
Absolutely. So I think next up, I'm going to go for... I think we have Reem Gross. So let's see if I can get him in here. And he joined us now. Reem, congrats on the 4th position. Pretty interesting race from yourself.
Yes. So finally I got back to driving, still with one-handed, and it was really crazy race for me. I had a big save in in lap, I think 8, something like this, and try to save the car and succeed, and try to fight the positions again with Peter and Nir. It was really fun race.
Absolutely. Well, you started in like 18th, and you gained 14 positions over the course of the race, getting past people a couple of positions due to incidents, but also quite a few overtakes on the circuit. Obviously, turn 10 was the best overtaking spot, but were there any other spots on the circuit you might have looked for a move?
I tried to look any corner to make a move. It was really big mess at a few first laps. A lot of incidents, a lot of close calls, but I had a good luck and I succeed to overtake them. The number 1 turn is the most dangerous for me to overtake, so I always kept it slow, didn't try to overtake there.
Yeah, absolutely. Turn 1 is quite a difficult place to overtake. We're just seeing now on the screen you launching it over the curb at turn 5. Is that not a bit risky to take all of the curb on the outside there?
Yeah, it's really risky. I had a little bit understeer there. It was, as I said, a lot of close calls. I had a good luck overall.
You certainly did, and definitely helped you out a little bit there because you ended up in 4th position. A great result for you after the first half of the season. Still 6 rounds left to go, of course, but we don't know what the circuits are going to be. So what are your thoughts heading into the second half of the season?
I'm really waiting to get better with myself, and I'm hoping that the next half I will drive with 2 hands, so I could be quicker and get back to the top like I used to.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations today on your 4th position. Wish you a speedy recovery with, I believe it's your shoulder, according to Jim, that you have an injury on. Hopefully we can get you back on 2 hands. We're driving with 2 hands instead of just the one. And yeah, hopefully we can see you back on top for the second half of the season.
Hope so too.
Well, Reem, thanks so much for joining us. Before we let you go, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, of course. I would like to send a big shout out for Ariel Dabush. First, congratulations for the 2nd place, and second, he lets me the opportunity to drive this season. So thank you, Ariel.
Well, thanks so much, Reem, and we'll see you in the second half of the season then.
Yeah, see you there.
Well, that was Reem Gross, finished in P4 today. Dane, I cannot believe the kind of results this guy. I mean, of course, he wants to get back on both hands because, you know, like anybody else, he wants to be healthy and at his full power. But unbelievable the results that he's been able to have in the last 2 races, just racing with one hand. I can't even, you know, I wouldn't be anywhere close to his times, even at my favorite track, using both my hands.
Yeah, shifting must be interesting for him. I'm not sure how that would work. That would be quite an interesting ordeal for him. But yeah, he's done a fantastic job, especially considering that he's only using one of his hands there. So yeah, great job from him.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. He seems to be making it work. Well, we've all made it work today. A lot of fun hanging out with you guys. Cannot wait to see what happens in the rest of the season. As everybody has alluded to today, we're dying to find out what the other tracks in the second half of the season are going to be. Cannot wait to see how these drivers work with one another as we go forward. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have been Jim Hodgson on behalf of Dane Baird and, of course, Mark Tranter. It has been a pleasure, and we look forward to seeing you in just 2 weeks.